let's say a case where it might be a female that likes you. She naturally just like you, but he likes her, but she likes you. He's upset about that. He don't like that. The fact that she like you and don't like him, because he done worked hard to get the money, the jewelry, the cars, the house, the pool, the everything else that he think he needs in order to make himself feel like that person, that man. And then you don't have to have none of that. And this female still likes you even more than she likes him. He hates that. So that to me, I call that a man who has a problem with real men.
That's crazy, man. So he'll feel a type of way if a female wanted one of his friends and not him.
Yeah, he got to be the one, the shiny suit. That's why he put on the shiny suit. It's only one shiny suit. Can't be two shiny suits in the video, man. It's only one shiny. It can't.
I remember seeing Mace with the shiny suit in the video also, especially in the More Money, More Problems video. Let me hear the rest of what needs to be said.
Be two kings under one castle. He know those words. Milk knows those words, man. Milk knows those words.
Have you and Diddy ever got into it over a female?
Yeah. I had this, yeah. One time. One, I want y'all to know this. These stories are strictly for when I was young and I didn't know no better. But now that I'm a grown man, my whole life has changed, man. I'm a different kind of individual. But yeah, one time, a couple of times, even the dancers, like he had the dancers used to come do the tryouts. They be showing up to the tryout room and all of this. I'm like, yeah, I'm going there. So I'd be like, ooh, look at her. That's the one right there. So I go get the baddest ones, because plus all of the females naturally like me. I don't know what it was, but I knew they naturally like me, and I felt it because I like me like that too, right? So he'd be like, yo, the girls, if it was one girl. Can I tell a long story? You want me the short story?
No, go.
How come none of these dudes had none of this stuff to say prior to going broke or Puff offering a publishing bag? How come none of these dudes had none of these stories except for Gene Deal, which I don't know anything about Gene Deal or what his motivation is? How come none of these guys had anything to say, but they was cool with it, they supported it, they rocked out with it, they even participated with him, did business with him for their entire lives until they couldn't do business with him no more, or they was broke, or they had to step out on their own and stand on their own 2 feet. Now, when all of these lawsuits come out, and again, let's be clear, I'm not even a fan of Diddy, but I know snakes when I see one, and so when you participate with it, that mean that you also a part of it. So now all of a sudden, y'all want to absolve yourself of the behaviors that was happening, and then he want to preface the conversation or whatever the story is going to be by saying, "Now remember, I was a young man." So was he. How is it any different? In my opinion, if you labeling him a scumbag and you was hanging out, doing business with him, writing with him, going to pick girls with him and all of that, not only are you the same thing, but you 10 times worse, because then you want to come out and tell stories about another man when you ain't had nothing to say prior to this year.
Go for it. Go for it.
I'm gonna give you the long story. So I seen this girl in the club that was a background singer. I mean, background dancer. She's in the Club Cheetah one night. And I went to the club and I seen her with Mario Winan hat on. So I said, where's Mario? She said, oh, he's not here. He stayed at home. I said, who you in here with? She was like, oh, I'm by myself. I said, where you going? She said, I got to get on the flight in the morning and go back to Canada. I said, okay, well, where you going to stay tonight? She said, well, I don't have no place. I said, want to come back to my place? She said, yeah. So we went back to my place and then we had a lot of fun. I'm talking about a lot of fun, whole bunch of fun. So then we go on, she going on tour. We going on tour to Jamaica. She come to the tryout, boom. So she like, boom. She like, at the end of the tryout, she like, I said, where you staying at this time? She say, well, I'm here from Canada. I ain't got no place right now. I said, want to come back to my room? She said, yeah. So we had some more fun. So we get to the tour and Puff come up to me. He said, "Hey Mark, I want to ask you a question." He said, "Did you sleep with her?" I was like, "Yeah." Cause I ain't want to lie, act like no, I didn't. I was like, "Yeah." He said, "How did you do it?" I said, "I did it like a grown man. I did it like you're supposed to." Right. And then right after that, the girl was off the tour. Never seen her again. Kicked her right on off the tour. Second time, I'm in the Bahamas, run across a girl. He like, "Mark, where you get this girl from?" I said, "I got her from the club." He said, "She kind of bad." He said, "If you give your girl to me, I'll give you one of my girls." I said, "Puff, I can't give you no girl." I said, "But if I walk away and she like you, then that's what it is. But I'll walk away and go to the store and leave her in the studio. I'll come back and she boot up with you and y'all together. I'm gonna be like, hey, okay. I ain't gonna have nothing to do with it."
So you complicit. So you complicit. You participated. Well, basically, he's snitching on himself. Let's be clear. That's number one. And number two, you complicit because you participated. And this is always played out in a lot of different situations. And that if she ain't yours and you able to knock her off, then I ain't tripping off of it. So you ain't tripping or whatever. But again, you complicit. So you setting her up. She don't know that y'all plotting in order to be able to bust her down because you already bust her down, and so you passing her off to the homie. This is nothing. This is played out in the '90s and in the early 2000s, but in the '90s and the 2000s, they used to call them bustos, right? Meaning that, oh, okay, so you know, which is completely different from a train, right? Trains were when multiple different guys participated at the same time. Not cool. In the '90s, they had what you call bustos, and then bustos was basically chicks that was for everybody, and so ain't nobody knew not to fall in love with her, but you was complicit because you setting her up. Mark Curry is setting her up, according to this story that he's telling us, in order to try to get her to go and sleep with his man's. So I'm trying to understand how you label and Puff a certain way when you literally his man's doing his dirty work and doing the same thing and she ain't got no clue whatsoever.
So I come back, the girl mad. She said, "Why you leave me here with this creep?" I said, "Where's Puff Daddy? Who else? I couldn't even leave you with someone better. I thought you would be happy." She was like, "No, I'm not happy. I don't like this dude." I said, "Damn." Then he's looking at me. He was like, "Yo, get out of my face, cause you know what I do to girls like this." I was like, "I don't know," but he was already ready to hit her. He was like, "I spit on her." So then she was like, "Well, I told him I ain't like him, but I got a twin sister." But I told him she won't like him either. That's when he really got mad. I had to get that girl up out of there quick because I realized he was going to try to hit my girl or be violent towards my girl because my girl didn't like him.
So she your girl, but you told him that you was gonna leave her in order to see if he could try to knock her off. Man, let me tell you about it, bro. Listen, we already have an assumption of what we think that Puff is as far as what his personality is and stuff like that. Now, I can't substantiate none of that. And one thing that I've always told myself that I'm not going to do is that without hard evidence, I'm not going to convict somebody in the court of public opinion. I could personally not like you, but that don't mean that I'm necessarily going to accuse you because I think that we already got enough of that false accusations that's happening out here in these streets in order for these people to get a payday in the first place. So I don't necessarily care for the Me Too movement. But then at the same time, another thing that I can't stand is a dude that participated in, profited from, and then hung around and then leveraged his connections in order to get all of this stuff throughout his life. And then the first sign that somebody come under duress or you don't like what's going on, you willing to throw them under the bus when you don't even realize that you're telling on yourself and being complicit of setting a chick up to be knocked off by a dude that you claim that you don't necessarily care about or that you didn't like at that particular time, but you were still hanging around him. Snakes on a plane. Listen, let me know what y'all think in the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I don't like this dude. I genuinely don't like this dude. And a lot of times what I see happening in our culture is that if somebody don't like somebody else, then what'll happen is even if that person is a snake, we then give some level of credence to them as though they are more valuable than a person that we don't necessarily like. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Make sure y'all tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. I'm interested to see what y'all got to say in the comments. I'm out.